Of business is members' business debate on motion 10364 in the name of Monica Lennon on incinerators, public health and planning in Scotland. And this debate will be concluded without any question being put. Would those members who wish to speak in the debate please press the request to speak buttons, and I call on Monica Lennon to open the debate. Up to 7 minutes, please, Ms Lennon.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I'd like to thank members who have signed my motion, and I remind the Chamber that I am a member of the Royal Town Planning Institute as listed in my Register of Interest, and a hello to visitors who are in the public gallery. Planning decisions about the use of land and buildings can make or break a community, and the role of the planning system has huge potential to enhance communities through the creation of high-quality, sustainable places that support the health and well-being of current and future generations. However, this potential to protect and transform places cannot be realised without communities. Planning should be a process in which communities are active participants, not passive consumers of something which is done to them, rather than by them and for them. In too many cases, our planning system continues to fail on this front. The best example I can use to illustrate the important role of community in planning comes from my experience of Whitehill, a neighbourhood in Hamilton, which I previously represented as a councillor and which I'm still proud to represent today as an MSP for Central Scotland. Whitehill is a place where people look out for each other, residents value green space and have fought hard for resources to help reduce health inequalities. But it's also a community that has faced adversity. It recently lost its library due to austerity, and it is certainly in no mood to gain an incinerator. A proposal for an energy from waste incinerator at Whitehill first emerged in 2013. And together with local councillors, we all worked to make sure that people were aware of the proposal and how they could have their say. Working under the banner of HERAG, residents in Whitehill, Burnbank, as well as from nearby Bothwell and Uddingston, and more recently from Blantyre, joined forces, giving up many Saturday mornings and weeknights. In May 2014, the planning application was refused by South Lanarkshire Council's Planning Committee. The campaigners were jubilant. The developer was defiant. An appeal was submitted to the Scottish Government in August 2014. 12 months later, a decision was released by the Scottish Government confirming that the incinerator was allowed to go ahead on the basis of national needs. Now, my constituents played by the rules of a plan-led system, but at the end of the day, the Scottish Government decided it knew better. Boosted by the appeal victory, the developer didn't stop there. No, a second planning application was submitted, this time for a bigger and bolder form of incinerator, and it's still being looked at by the council. In so many ways, the experience of the Whitehill incinerator is a story about the power imbalance which exists at the heart of the planning system. Pursued by an Isle of Man-based applicant, the proposed incinerator didn't comply with the development plan, it didn't have the support of local residents or a single local councillor of any party, and it didn't comply with the Scottish Government's own guidelines for incinerators. Incinerators, according to Scottish planning policy, should be at least 250 metres away from homes and other sensitive buildings. This one will almost be cheek by jowl with homes along Whistlebury Crescent and a travelling people's site. To be clear, the approved proposal and the new one breach the development plan and Scottish planning policy. Surely this makes a mockery of a plan-led system which we've had in Scotland for a long time and undermines the participation of local residents who engaged in the process in good faith. It's become a battle similar to the incinerator proposed by Shore Energy in the Carnborough and Shawhead area, which Elaine Smith has fiercely campaigned against for years, alongside Monklands residents against pyrolysis plant campaigners. And at Fulton McGregor now, as a constituency member, is also actively campaigning against. Across Scotland, local decisions on incinerators are being overturned on appeal despite genuine issues about particles, air quality, health impact, traffic volume and compatibility with residential areas being left inadequately addressed by the Scottish Government and its agencies. Because if a 250-metre buffer zone isn't really necessary and the Minister is prepared to allow incinerators to be built a matter of metres from people's homes and residential caravans, why hasn't the Scottish Government updated Scottish planning policy to reflect this? Alternatively, if the Minister is standing by the current Scottish planning policy, can he explain later on in the debate why the Scottish Government was prepared to compromise the safety and amenity of my constituents? Because I believe they deserve to know. Last year, a Sunday Herald investigation by journalist Rob Edwards ran under the headline Ash Heap Nation and examined fears over the proliferation of super incinerators across Scotland. In the report, Dr Richard Dixon from Friends of the Earth Scotland warned the Scottish Government to stop this rush to incineration before it is too late. The Government must be clearer with communities over the health risks posed by incineration if they are to push ahead with super incinerators to meet national targets on waste, because this cannot come at the expense of the health and well-being of some of our most deprived communities. Updated guidance must be published to identify the impact of incineration on pollution and human health, and better consideration given to the location of development sites if we're going to continue with this policy framework. To wind up, Presiding Officer, the decision to allow the Whitehill incinerator came down to an interpretation of national priority over local need and local circumstance. The remedy for the communities affected by the Whitehill incinerator lies in the hands of the Minister for Local Government and Housing. He could right a wrong rather than sticking to the position of his predecessor. He could, at the stroke of a pen, use the powers available to the Scottish Government to withdraw planning permission for the Whitehill incinerator. To do so would respect the views of 4-year-old Lily Grace McGee. In her handwritten objection letter, she voiced her concern for the wildlife who live on the site and for her friends who use Backmuir Woods. She is worried, like me, that the incinerator will harm the health of the community. Planning should be driving up standards in placemaking and improving the public health of the nation. Incinerators in built-up areas that violate development plans put that at risk. Presiding Officer, my plea to the Scottish Government is this: please don't turn us into an ash heap nation.